Good day and welcome to episode number 13 of the Pin Podcast. Before we get started, I wanted to say thank you. Today I aired the Besame episode and all of you had a great response to it, and I really appreciate all the nice comments and reaching out to me. It means so much to me that you guys love that I brought her on the show, and it was a great experience for me because I got to learn more about the brand. It's so weird when you see something every day or an artist like today and, you learn more and it just really opens your eyes and appreciates, the brand even more. So if you guys don't know, here at the Pin Podcast, we love talking about modern topics with vintage flair. And if you want to follow on upcoming episodes or look at behind the scenes, follow me at the Pin Podcast Official or on my personal brand at PinUp Miami. And let's get started with today's episode. We have an artist. She is an amazing artist. I've even commissioned her to do a piece for me. She is a vintage collector and a gorgeous pinup. She has entered one of my pinup contests, and she's an amazing person, inside and out. Truly, I feel like maybe because she's born in South Florida, we have that connection. But her name is Kat Ruiz. And tell us a little bit about you, Kat. Oh, before I continue, her Instagram, so you can see her artwork, is at Kat_NKD. If you're watching me on YouTube, I'll be putting pictures on the screen so you can see her artwork. But make sure to check her out because she's amazing. And her website is katfink.com with a K, Kat with a K. And if you're listening on the podcast, make sure to subscribe, like, comment, rate, all that good stuff. I greatly appreciate it. But back to Kat. Tell us about yourself, Kat.
Hi, thank you for having me, number one. I'm so excited, and I get to see you again in these weird times we're at. But little bio, I guess, about me. Born and raised in Hialeah. Yep, I was there. I moved to South Beach when I was 17, and I just hightailed it out of there. I wanted to move and see places. I didn't really travel a lot. Moved to Sarasota, ended up in Maryland, and I go, oh my gosh, I miss Florida so much. So my dad was an architect. He passed away when I was young, but I always held on to art and all that he taught me. Art runs in my family. So I pass it on to my kids, and I literally do art like literally every day. I've made it a point to stay that way. I don't like to hear people say that, hey, I used to draw or I used to do this. I'm like, why did you stop? So yeah, and now I'm here in Niceville, Florida. It's not the same as Miami. I guess they call it the Bible Belt here. It's so southern. I mean, I miss Vicky Bakery. I miss, going to 49th Street. I miss all those things, but it's just different over here for my kids. And I hope one day I'll move down there again. I miss everything. I still have family down there.
And we'll hang out more.
Yeah, and they don't really have pinup stuff over here. It's really rare. So we have to travel to Central Florida or to the South to really do anything pinup related. So
that's funny that the city you're in is called Niceville.
Yeah, everybody's like, is that real? And they are nice here. Yeah, seriously. Yeah, but they are really nice here, and it is really cookie cutter here. So we stand out. We're a tattooed weird family, so we stand out here.
That's what makes you guys awesome.
At first, they're kind of weary, like, oh my gosh, we're those weirdos. But no, they know us now. We're okay.
I'm the weirdo in my block. That's because I have yellow hair and I walk around my dog with a muumuu on all the time.
My son's like, every time he sees your picture of the podcast playing or stuff, he goes, that's your friend with the yellow hair. That's like your nickname. That's what he calls you.
That's what a lot of people, like the thrift store that I go to that I recommend a lot, or they always tell the person in the front, oh, the girl with the yellow hair. And that's how people know me. Now I got my roots showing, but it's quarantine. Let me ask you, how would you describe your kind of art to anybody? I was trying to figure out a way of when I was trying to figure out how to introduce you, but I thought I'll let you talk about your art. And how would you describe your art?
Well, it took a long time. It's not easy to be an artist and make a profit or make a living from it at first. So just growing up through high school, I was really finding myself, and I really didn't find who I was till I was 25, around there. I had my kids and all that stuff. My art does fall into a category, I'm not going to say unfortunately, but because a lot of people like it, and it really falls into the custom culture. And it's what people are really familiar with the custom culture. It falls into the automotive field. So it's pinstriping, it's ratfink style, and ratfink goes back, to like the 40s and 50s. And it's just this car culture that's really big, and it's kind of underground, at least over here it is. But yeah, and I just start, my caricatures are different, and I have so many different styles. I don't really just nail my style into one category, because in my field I kind of have to please the customer too. So I do a bunch of different things, but I like to stick with the custom culture. That's my type of my love right now.
And let me ask you, because when I've always loved the ratfink, and when I asked you to make me, as a ratfink, it's like, because I love cars. Like, I bought this house because one day I was gonna have a hot rod, but not a lot of girls, at least in, I run the meetups here. They don't know much about the culture. So can you explain what a ratfink is? Because I always have a hard time, and then I show a picture, and they're like, "Yo, Jennifer, she drew you with hairy legs." I'm like, "That's the point."
That's why I like it, because I'm like, look, I can spike out and stuff, and it's part of my cartoon. But yeah, so Ed Roth was the creator of ratfink, and he was a hot rod aficionado. Like, he loved hot rods, he loved all that culture. And back in the 50s and 40s, those type of hot rods, the teenagers used to buy them just to make them fast. They used to put those big wheels, and versus now teenagers are on their phones and stuff. Back then, it was making these cars super awesome and fast, and they would race them. These kids would be 13, 14, 15 years old. So he was a hot rodder, and he was an artist. So what he did was, Ed Roth, he kind of was making fun of Mickey Mouse, because Mickey Mouse was really popular back then, and I guess it was really trendy. And he's kind of anti-trendy, his style, you could tell. So he just took the style of Mickey Mouse and just made it into this really gross type of monster. And it's so funny because you could tell when he came up with this style, it wasn't really to please like the house moms and stuff. It was more to to fall into a category of its own. So that's where the rat is. It's really a twist and really making fun of, Mickey Mouse. But now Ed Roth and Ratfink and hot rods, that just fell into a pot and just carried on all these years until now. Like, it's just crazy how much it's grown into an empire. He passed away 80s or 90s. I may be wrong, but it's alive and kicking now, and it's really awesome.
And you're an official artist.
Yes, I got licensed by the Ratfink Empire. It was his wife. She takes care of everything, the sales, the websites and stuff. So, I've been sending her messages through Facebook. I'm like, hey, I love Ratfink. I love hot rods. I'm into pinups. I'm into all this stuff that, I love to be. And I really wanted to be a licensed artist and doing the right thing for him, because not to be a licensed person and to use someone else's artwork, is a no-no. Mm-hmm. So at least I can produce Ratfink style and pay my respect, to an artist that I really love and his family. And, they gave me the title. So that was an honor.
Yeah, when I saw you post that, I was so happy for you. That's so cool.
So excited. So excited.
So it's safe to say that you love Ratfink so much that that's how you got your nickname, Kat Fink.
Yeah.
I see it in the back. Kat Fink.
Yep. I did. And, I launched my website and everything without knowing where all of this would land me. I was like, I love it. I mean, it sounds good. I love Ratfink. I love vintage stuff. I love cars and all that stuff. And it's taken it off. Like, this year has been crazy, and last year too. So it's been a blessing.
What would you say was the first piece that do you remember, like, a certain first piece that you did that got you into? I know your dad was an architect. Did you used to draw what he drew, or what was it inspired you to draw?
My oldest memory of him was I was probably like a little girl, like 8, 7 or something, and we would go to La Carreta and we would go, to Coral Gables because we lived in Coral Gables, and he would flip over the paper mats, because they were paper back then. I don't know if they do that now, but
They're
he
still
would
paper.
always have okay. He would flip it over, always have some art supplies with him, and we would draw. Like we would draw the salt shakers and the cup of water and all that stuff. And that realism stuck with me, to really observe the things that most people don't observe, like the condensation and stuff like that. And that type of stuff I teach my kids too, which is awesome. You could hand it down to them.
And
Real
how
special.
and how did you get into the pinup? I'm pretty sure it goes hand in hand, but was there a specific moment or something?
Before all this ratfink craziness, I had an aunt that passed away. She was real short. She wasn't a little person, but she was like 4 foot nothing. And she was born in the 40s. She was around and really admired the Art Deco era and stuff. They lived in Miami too, so they admired it back in those days. And her house always had Art Deco and always had vintage, and she'll have Tiffany lamps and even like the lamps that had like the ladies hold like with the really fancy dogs, from the 20s, really skinny, long dresses. Just, I always loved that. She turned me on into the vintage movies too. So every time we hung out, we were watching movies from the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. And that's always stuck with me, always. And crazy story, she had really short hair, but she had like a white stripe here, like a skunk everywhere we went from her being short and had that white skunky thing. And then mine came up in like my mid 20s. So I was like, this is real awesome. I'm not dyeing my hair. It pays homage to her too.
Oh, that's so awesome that you both happen to have the white stripe.
Yeah. And we're not even blood. Like we weren't even blood. She was married into the family.
Oh, that's because you went all the time and watched movies.
Yeah.
The power of the movies.
Or just one kid, one of the two. I don't know.
And so with that, did you start collecting vintage because of her as well? And what do you collect? Do you have anything specific?
You know what I love? Those wooden purses, like those box purses and stuff, those vintage. I love those. And the Lucilite purses. When I see one at vintage stores, I have to buy it. Like I have like 5 or 6 of them, but I've always been to antique stores. I always admire just, what they have and brooches and stuff like that. It's just anything vintage. And my boyfriend, forget it. He's a pack rat. So we have our house filled that we have a cabinet filled with antique medical supplies.
Ooh.
Like the old glass syringes, like old medical books with the crazy motions that they used to have back in the day, and all those things.
Wow. Is there something in your collection that you love? Like if you had to name your top 3 pieces, do you have like favorite pieces?
I do. And this was a recent one that just came up. In Mad Men, the secretary, she had like a necklace with a pencil at the end that it was like gold. Well, we went to a vintage store and it was a brooch with a pencil at the end of it. And it has a string. And I didn't buy it that day. I didn't have money or something like that. And Robert, my boyfriend, he noticed that I was like drooling over this thing. And he surprised me one day. It was in Pensacola and he bought it for me and bought it home. So it's like my favorite piece ever. It still has a in it. Yeah, it's so awesome.
And
that's my first one. It does. You twist it and it comes out and everything. I draw with it sometimes. Super cool. My car, he got me a 1960 Cadillac. So that's one of the new ones now, my favorite. And just my purses. I'm just a purse girl. I love the old purses. I go to an antique store, I see a purse with some cool clasp or they're beaded or something that's old, I gotta get it. Like,
yeah, good to know, because I like when I have a couple girls that tell me what they like, and then I'll send it. I'm gonna text if I ever find something. So I'll keep that in mind.
Oh, nice. I love them.
I collect lucite purses. Actually, this weekend I'm gonna put them a floating shelf and put them all on display in this studio room I have.
I remember when I was in high school going to the antique stores in Miami, South Florida and stuff and seeing the lucite purses and always admired and I've always kicked myself in the butt for not getting them because they're so pretty.
They're really nice. Very fragile, but nice.
Yeah, I know. I see crack ones and stuff, but I'm like, I'll still buy it. I don't care.
Yep, that's how I get the lower price. A little crack, I don't care. It's in the back. A little crack don't hurt.
Oh, crack on a purse, not drugs are bad, kids.
I was thinking of a plumber's crack, but you're right.
Me too, actually.
Let's see. So, cars. I love hot rods, and you have one. I don't have one, but when I do, we will be rolling together somewhere.
Yes, we'll start a gang.
So, tell me about, do you paint on your car, or?
Well, my car, it needs a lot of cosmetic work, so we're just kind of working from the inside out. You know, the windows need to be fixed because I don't want to fix the interior if there's rain coming in and all that stuff yet. So, but we do paint on other people's car. My boyfriend builds hot rods, and he has a hot rod shop in Pensacola called Messenger Hot Rods. And it's just crazy just meeting someone that you have so much in common. You know, he's been pinstriping and airbrushing for over 15 years. And when we first met 3 years ago, he asked me, when did you start pinstriping? I was like, it's been like a year. He's like, what the? You know, so, but yeah, we do it together, which is awesome. You know, he does the custom paint, the gold leaf, all that stuff. I don't do all that craziness. He does all that. And I'll come in, finish it off with pinstriping, and we do motorcycles and all sorts of stuff. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, your pinstriping is amazing. I know I took a course in pinstriping, and I pinstripe small things around my home, but nothing as big as yours.
Yeah, but I saw your trophies, and I was so impressed with your trophies at the last...
That was one of my first pieces.
I love it.
And bulletproof.
Yeah, bulletproof. That was a cool little thing that we went to.
I'm going to be doing some pinstriping for some trophies. They actually approved. I'm going to host an event in North Carolina. In Charleston. That's in South Carolina, right? I'm going over there to host a pinup contest. The Rockabilly Key that happened here is happening over there, so I'll be there in November. So we'll see how
we should go. Yeah, let me see them. I would love to see the process. Love that.
And so, what got you into hot rods?
Just again, my dad had a bunch of old cars. He had an old Mustang. He had an old Camaro. He had a Cougar. So growing up, he was a lover of hot rods, and his brothers, my uncles, they were too. We just always go to car shows, and it was just like the normal thing, you know. It was just normal for us to do stuff. So before I even met my boyfriend, you know, he was into hot rods. I would do the same thing with my kids. Oh crap, there's a car show here, nice, so let's go. We'll go, and they love it also, and they admire it and appreciate it like I do. So
see, we have so much in common. I don't have kids or a husband yet, but
I'll let you borrow my kids if you want, because they're driving me nuts.
I take other people's kids because I like doing events, I guess, in my own. I'm a babysitter sometimes. So what's your favorite? Okay, so you have all these medias of your art. Do you have a favorite one over the other, or?
You know, I feel like digital art isn't, a lot of people don't categorize it like as a medium, but I do, because it's so easy. Like back in the day, as far as like tattooing and stuff too, you know, you have to draw it on paper, you transfer it onto paper, you put it on the skin. Same thing, like if you're making a banner or t-shirts and stuff like that, just digital is just so easy now. It gives it just an advantage on just to slap it on a shirt or slap it on a banner or to do whatever you need to, or on a car, you know, car wraps and stuff. Just digital is my favorite. It's just so easy right now. It's just my number one. But pinstriping is almost fun. I just did a motorcycle not too long ago, and it's just, that also goes back so long, you know, back into the day people pinstriped forever ago too. And I'm happy that people are still seeking it out now and keeping that alive still. You know, so that's my second favorite.
Yes. And I just love how it feels to go.
Yeah. And you know, I don't do it as much because some of these people, they do it so fast. And I'm like, are their eyes open? Because it's like they're doing it so quick.
I've seen
You
that.
know,
I'm like, what?
done. And I'm a perfectionist. I don't do it every day like some of these people do, but I'm like, I wish like I need to practice more, I guess. But
Now, in your artwork, you don't only do it digitally or on a car, you also do it on a helmet, shoes. How did
yeah,
that get started? Was it like a random customer that asked you, or you were like, let me
yeah.
experiment?
Well, even the whole thing that even started the pinstriping and the car painting and all that stuff, 3 or 4 years ago, I had a friend. He goes, "Hey, I have a helmet. I see that you do art. Can you do something?" And I go, "Well, I know that you can't use regular paint on that. I got to really do the research." And I did. I did research, and I saw that there's special type of paints. And then I figured out, oh crap, there's pinstriping is a whole world, and I reached out to a lot of artists. And to my surprise, there's a lot of times that I've heard a lot of artists say that they've reached out to artists for help and they kind of shut them down. They don't want to share their secrets because they see it as a competition thing. It wasn't like that at all. Just me getting paint all over my hands and I couldn't take it off because water doesn't work with these type of paints. I looked like a mess the first day. I had people FaceTiming me, walking me through this, and I really appreciate that. But I did the helmet. The customer bought me my first kit. He bought me my first starter kit. It came with brushes and paint, one shot, and it took off from there. I even reached out to him not too long ago. I'm like, dude, because of you, I'm in magazines. I'm working for this. I'm doing that. Thank you so much.
Took a
For
chance.
yeah, I took a chance. It's a little scary at first, but you got to do it.
Just like everything in life, anytime you start something new is scary. But I'm glad he did because I love seeing how you do the shoes and the vans and the Frankenstein, just different types. Because you could also see it's not just that ratfink look; it's all types that you do, and that's what I really like.
And I think a lot of people struggle with either they do cartoons and they can't do realism, but you can't stay where you're comfortable. You need to like step out of your box. You're like, okay, I'm not good at this. Let me watch other artists how they do. Let me find their techniques. Let me ask questions, and that's where a lot of people stop. But I'm so curious and observant and I want to learn. I made a point to myself a couple of years ago to really learn like all mediums, of art. So I don't know what else there is out there that I haven't tried, but it's my mission
I
to
saw you
kind of,
dabbling on animation.
yeah, animation. That's hard. That thing's hard, but yeah, even simple animation, that's a whole other course. But nowadays, kids don't know how easy they have it. Everything's on YouTube. You
Yes.
don't have to spend $100,000. I mean, yeah, stay in school, kids, but you you don't have to go to like a special art school to learn how to do animation. I mean, if you want to go ahead, but YouTube shows you everything.
That's how I learned how to
And
sew. Was
yeah,
YouTube.
exactly.
How I learned how to set up this podcast. YouTube.
You, they have everything on there.
Yeah.
YouTube University is what I call it.
I like that. YouTube University. But take it with a grain of salt sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. Because then you fill your cup up and you get too busy.
So let's see. Do you have any questions for me? Oh.
I don't have a question, but I have a statement.
Oh, okay.
Brace yourself. No, I'm kidding. So kind of being like in the pinup community and stuff, I kind of I went to like different groups to see like how they run their things and how the girls clicked with each other and stuff like that. So I had a chance at the billet car show, Bulletproof, to like meet you and to see how you organize like all of this. So then I soaked that in. I came back and I was really thinking about it. I go, you have such a great way to bring people together and not make it like a clique. You know what I mean? Not make it like you can't sit with us, type of stuff. You open it to everybody, versus I've been in no other, I'm not gonna mention names. There's no tea spill today, but and I can compare, it's just, I'm like, this is the way it needs to be. And I thank you for that because it has to be that way. Everybody's friends. We all share the love of vintage and makeup and hair and secrets and how do you do that and how do you do this. So I thank you for that.
Oh, that means so much because that's exactly what I've tried to do.
Yeah, and you didn't even have to try because it just comes naturally to you. I could tell.
No, I had to try. I had to. It was a hard journey where I'm at today because I used to be part of a group and I learned really hard. This is not what I want. This is my path. This is like literally pinup for a lot of girls. It's just a hobby that makes them happy. So I really wanted to express that. So I was like, Miami has no rockabilly events, so let me just make something and make people come because I want people just to enjoy themselves. It doesn't matter their age, their size, what they look like, if they're even in jeans. Like, because some people look like they'll look at you and be like, oh, you're not dressed pinup or whatever. You can't sit in our brunch. I've seen that happen before. So my brunches, if you see pictures of my Pin South Florida brunches, people come in jeans and a t-shirt. I mean, they just come because they enjoy it. It's the same. So it really means a lot what you just said. I'm like,
well, because stop, don't cry. You cry, I cry, and then we got makeup on. It's gonna go everywhere. Don't do that. But yeah, and I was like, I need to tell her that. I've been meaning to tell you this a while, but I felt like this was the best place to do. Yeah, and like I said, I was able to compare another group that there's just so much drama, and it shouldn't be that way. So I appreciate you and everything you do.
Thank you, and I appreciate you. That's why I'm attracted to people that have a passion in their passion, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, you have to run with your clan. You know what I mean? You have to surround yourself with the people that you want to be like.
Yes.
So.
Yes, and I enjoy people with who I have, connections, because we all grow and evolve, and so you always have to take it and enjoy what you have now. And that's what I've learned in my couple of years is, I just enjoy the moment, work hard, and then, if something doesn't work out, be sad for a second and move on.
You have to move on. You can't dwell on that stuff.
I thank you so much for those words. It means a lot to hear it. Because I do try.
I was telling Robert too. I told him about that after Billy. I go, wow. I go, that other group isn't for me. It's just it'll be deuce.
All right. So now I have questions from people that asked on Instagram. Nothing crazy. Somebody did ask you to marry you. Nah.
Oh my God.
But sometimes I feel like girls get weird questions. I'm pretty sure that happens. So, question number 1. Do you have any advice for artists trying to find their way in the art world?
I feel like I kind of hit that before. If you feel like you're looking at your artwork and you're like, wow, this isn't where I want it to be, don't stop. Like, don't let that hinder you and your art and your passion. I've been doing it since I was a little girl. I've never stopped. And a lot of people have a lot of like emotion, like you'll fall into depression. It's life. People get sad and stuff like that. Art has always pulled me out of everything because it's been the one constant thing in my whole life. So don't stop. If you want to be an artist, don't stop. You could be the best artist. It's just, you got to practice. I read somewhere you need to be good at something. You have to have at least 10,000 hours in it. So
I've heard that too.
Yeah, so put in 10,000 hours.
What is an artist you admire? Or who is an artist, not what is?
Well, so I'm going to go back a little bit. Aside from being a licensed ratfink artist, I just started to be a part-time artist for Cartoons Magazine. And what they do is they collect all these automotive artists and they sell magazines at Walmart, all these places all over the world. So that was a big accomplishment also. Now, next issue that's coming up is issue 29. That's where my cartoon's going to debut, guys. So go buy those magazines. But the issue after that, I believe is issue number 30, is going to be women in the automotive field. Okay. And I'm all about empowering women, lifting each other up. And the owner asked me, he goes, try to integrate somebody that you admire in the automotive field. And I go, oh my gosh, I'm getting sweaty. And I'm like, maybe she's not going to want to, type of stuff. Her name is Hot Rod Jen. And she's a pinstripe artist too. And she is amazing. She is so fucking cool. Oh, sorry. Can I curse?
You could. I just cursed.
Okay, I'm sorry. She's really cool. And I've been following her ever since I started this because she's a girl in a male-dominated field.
Yeah.
I asked her and she said yes. And she was so humbled to be on there. So you guys can go follow Hot Rod Jen. She's a pinstripe artist. She's on Instagram, Facebook, all these things, YouTube.
Ooh, I'm gonna follow her because I love
Yeah,
this.
she's really, yeah.
Let's see. So, next question. How do you manage life, being a mom, and work? So, life, work, mom, work balance.
Tequila and wine help a lot. No,
You have 4 kids, no?
yes, I have 4 kids. We just grew to a big family. Did I lose you?
No.
Yeah, we just grew to a big family. So I have an 8-year-old and 3 teenagers. So I have 2 15-year-olds and a 14-year-old. And during the coronavirus, and all this stuff, it's been crazy, So I knew that I needed a space, for my office where I can have them do their own thing, and I do my own thing. But, everybody has to help. We're a family of 6 and we all got to contribute.
Mm. And wine and tequila.
I wine and tequila in between.
Let's see. Do you enjoy painting like normal? I guess okay, let me just read exactly what it says. Do you enjoy painting like normal or on a tablet? So I'm guessing digital or normal.
I really do like digital now, like I said before, just because it's so much easier, especially like if you're trying also to share your artwork on social media. You literally press a button and your artwork's there. So I really enjoy digital. And a lot of people won't say that that's art or a medium, but whatever. It doesn't matter what they think. I think it's
And I love the videos that you could create on the digital ones because I've seen your time lapse. Like it was so cool. At least in my experience, I love seeing how you did the PinUp Miami ratfink.
Yeah, and that's another thing. A lot of people like to see your process, and I like that too. I like to see, even when I see Tara McPherson is another artist that I like. She has had artwork in a lot of major movies and stuff like that. But I've had the pleasure of seeing her artwork in person. And what I do is I get really close and I like to see the brush strokes. I like to see the pencil marks underneath. And it's stuff that you don't see from far away. So a lot of people appreciate, the construction of the artwork, from start to beginning. So
that's what I try to do with my dresses because a lot of people want to see how I make them. But it's so hard for me because then I got to figure out how I could get the camera so you can see everything. And then I just take little snippets and I give up. I'm like, snip, there, I'm done.
Well, the circle skirts are so big too. How are you going to fit,
like right now, I guess I could say it. Not yet. I'm working on a really big dress, the biggest I've ever done.
I wish I could sew. That's so awesome that you could do that. You could sew your own clothes and stuff.
You'd be proud of me because there's paint on it.
Oh, did you paint something?
Yes, I'll tell you after because it's a surprise for October.
I can't wait to see it.
So the next question is, do you have a favorite color palette to use? I guess they mean like a color genre. Do you like reds, greens? I'm guessing green.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm looking in the background and I think it's red and green because it's all over.
I didn't even think of that, and I'm looking at it right there. Oh, and you also crochet.
Yeah, I crochet. You see my little mouse back there. Yeah. I make toys for my kids and stuff like that. But yeah, red and green. And I'm really liking pink. I never liked pink before, but I love pink now. And I want my Cadillac pink. And I'm trying to wrap my other car pink too. So red, green, and pink. And anything glitter. So.
Yes. I like how guys call glitter flake.
Yeah, they call it metal flake. And they get mad. You're like, oh, your car has glitter? He's like, hell no. Don't say that.
When I went to Metal Flake and I was like, oh, it's glitter. Like, no. Like, okay. I'm sorry. No, because he asked me why. What was the question? He asked me, well, I get girls that buy the flakes to make the tumblers. Yes,
and they put it on nail polish too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You can make your own nail polish with flake too. That's the same stuff they use. I know, don't tell anybody. But
I won't. I just like to shine. When I have my hot rod, I'm going to go to Messenger Rods.
Yes, Messenger hot rods. And then call it glitter just to get them upset. Because I like to do
glitterfied. So let's see. What is your proudest piece? This is the last question that I got.
I don't know. It's hard because a lot of stuff I let go. I make things for other customers, so like I try not to get so attached because literally everything that I do, I'm putting my TLC into it, my heart, soul, and tears and blood and all that stuff in it, and then I have to ship it off. And I don't see it again. But I love the pinups. I love doing pinups on glitter. It just those are my favorite. Just my favorite thing to do. Pinups on helmets. It's the shape of them. It just makes them stand out. On a motorcycle, like how hot is that? It just looks really cool. So that's my favorite.
And let's see. Do I have any other questions? Did you have fun making my pinup? I know it was a while ago.
Yes, I did. I was actually like, when I was doing it and you asked me to do it, I'm like, yay! Because, like I said, I let a lot of things go. And I do know some of these people and I do run into them like at car shows and stuff like that. But I see you more often than not, like on podcasts and social media and stuff like that. So I was really excited to pick out a picture and put one of your outfits on there, make it and judge it up, to match you and stuff. So that was a lot of fun. Yeah. And just, your staple pieces, like your hair,
Yes.
your lipstick, your eyeliner, it just makes it you. So I like, even though it's still kind of ratfink, but it's still like, your style. It matches who you are and your personality. And
you even
like
put
that.
The brooch.
Yeah, the brooch. and that's like a good thing, just to always kind of put like the little things that just makes it really personal.
Yeah.
And stuff. And that it's not, everybody can't use that image, that's yours, and do whatever you want with it. You know what I mean? So yeah.
So what else do you sell? Tell the listeners, what else do you do? How can they how can they reach out to you? Through your website, email you for custom pieces?
Yeah, I will answer you through all social medias, all websites, everything. Right now I'm painting Nike Air Max 90s. Obviously the Vans slip-ons, I do a lot of those just because there's a lot of real estate on there to paint, but I do pretty much everything. Converse, the Chuck Taylors, high top, low tops, Air Force Ones. We've just literally been customizing every type of shoe that I can do, that I'm able to slap paint on. Right now, skateboards are really big too. That's making a comeback, which is awesome. So I got a couple decks that I got to paint, which is cool because one of the guys, they're from Nevada, but he's from Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. And he owns a hot rod shop over there. He's like, okay, you're my person. I'm going to go out to you. I want to be Finked. I want to be ratfink, and I got a cool car, so integrate my car and we race our cars in the desert. So it's, I got a nice long longboard to have, all his wishes and desires on there. So that's going to be a lot of fun to do. I can't wait to show that one off when I'm done. And, it's also beneficial, for digital media. I could do all that stuff digitally, design a skateboard, send it off to print, and give it to a customer. But these type of hand painted things are more personal too. And I feel like people do, they like those more than anything, because it just has their own twist and it's more, not anybody else is going to have the same thing. And even if someone asked me, they're like, hey, I saw that you did a ratfink pair of Vans. Can you do it? I'm like, yeah, but, I'm never going to do the same one twice. I have to change it, just out of respect for my customer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I literally paint anything and everything. So,
and on anything.
And on anything. Yeah.
That should be the tagline.
You name it, I do it.
I thank you, Kat, so much for being on the podcast. It really means a lot to me because I'm telling you, even before I met you, I followed you online and I loved your artwork. It's the style that I love. I know that sometimes I like to dress really fancy, but this is my thing that I love. Like, you see it when I go to places.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you and all that stuff for also being, a lover of the male-dominated world. So we're all like, I'm all for that.
Yeah. All right, and I hope all of you come back next week. It's gonna be a surprise guest next week, but she's from New York, And I hope you all have a wonderful day. And I'll see you all next week.